Hello, I'm ABX Toycat, and welcome back to another live stream on the internet. Today, I'm going to be mining down and bringing my sugarcane farm as low down as possible. This is partly because it's an important project, but it's also partly because a lot of people say when one of the downsides of missing the Let's Play is like, what? Where are we going to have our silly, unstructured, like almost hour-long conversations? And to solve you from your almost hour-long conversation need, how about we have a 2-hour one? How about we have, what is this going to be? Actually, how about exactly 120 minutes? Wow, do we have a timer? Yes, we do. Let's do this. It's going to be exciting. So, yeah, we're going to be digging down well below bedrock, and I'm going to be using the fast mining technique to hopefully get down, because we've gone from 0 to 10, and it's taken us so long, like hours of working. But if we use this technique, where you mine just a little bit back and then go forwards, we should be able to improve our speed substantially, because I have not just one diamond pickaxe today, I have 4, I've got the pickaxes, I've got the everything, but can I end up with enough cobbled deep slate? Because I really do want a lot of cobbled deep slate. My plan is to, I can't say I have a good plan, but I want to do some silly things. It'll be fun. So hello everyone, I'm ABX Toycat. Let's chat, shall we? There is this real human need just to talk sometimes, right? It's weird because I'm a pretty introverted person by default, I'd say, and so I always find it weird. I'm like, huh. I would enjoy a conversation right now. But it's never like that. I never actually think about things in that sort of sense. It's usually more like, I would like to do an activity where there is room for lots of talking. You know how intense it is to go somewhere where the only activity is going to be talking. Like, that is so stressful to me. I did a consultation with my dentist where I knew, okay, at the end, they give you a little bit of a sales pitch. Sales pitches are scary, right? Which is why I want to, you want to avoid sales pitches. That's why you need to download the Toycat Let's Play. See that? That was a sales pitch hidden as not a sales pitch. Anyway, yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. It's good to see your cat. Don't worry about the psycho baby. We're all good here. We got a chill stream today. It's going to be a lot of fun for another hour and 58 minutes. No, there is something so interesting about seeing a ticking timer, because we're all aware that time exists all the time. Like right there, that should not change the fact that time is ticking down, but it does change something. It makes you realize that time is perpetually always, slightly rolling down. I'm sorry, howdy ho, when you move to Seattle, says Chocofly JM Moko. I have a preliminary thing planned in the next month, and then I've got a longer term thing planned for 2023 maybe. If you are, I try not to be specific on the internet, even though I know it's not gonna come up. No one's gonna. But it's if you say something really detailed about those okay, so I'm allowed to joke about crimes like murder, right? I can joke all I like ha 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 ha. You know who I'd like to kill? People who walk too slow on the pavement. Seriously, pick a speed and go that way. We really need to do that. Aren't we all in a timer, but we can't see it? Yeah, think about it. Right now, you have a timer ticking down until your statistical death date, and it's going down at that exact same speed, but we're all just kind of pretending it's not, I know, just something to think about. Just a reminder that time is finite. Because there is something, at least to me, maybe this just tells you how my brain works more than anything else. But when there is a ticking timer, it really does affect how it affects how I view things, right? It affects how I behave. When I know that time is running out, I will do things much faster, or to the converse, if I think that there's no chance of me doing it before the end, I just give up, Something about an active timer, active deadlines do change me. And I watched a video, I think it was about, I forget what mental, on the internet, how every mental illness gets purported to be a personality trait, and it's well, do you ever feel sad? Oh, that's this one. You ever feel... Anyway, so I watched a video that, claimed that, basically, but for, oh, I've got this real problem because of my very real, this is totally a condition thing. I just don't shop anywhere unless there's real penalties for me. If you invite me to something and there's no penalty for failure, I'm not going to shop there because of my... And it's I think that's just called being late, lady. I think you're just not very polite to your friend's time. Anyway, the point of the story was just to say that I feel as though there's a little bit of that truth in everyone. That if you give people consequences, that's when they start to oh, okay, we have to act differently, do we? I did not realize that this was a real situation. And it's funny because it's almost offensive because it implies that, like, yeah, we all need consequences to get going. But in lots of cases, we genuinely do, right? Like, if we didn't believe that it worked, that consequences made things happen, then we wouldn't have punishments for murder. Like, if you can't stop a murder anyway, why would we, why would we lock them up when we're done? Why don't we, what's the benefit in that? No, we have a system where we want to punish people who do wrong because we think that it's called a deterrent, right? The idea being that making it bad enough when they do wrong that they don't want to do wrong because they're fearful of what happens if they don't. You know, that's why whenever there's a mob boss, he's never like, you know what? Payment terms? You want to pay later? That's so good. Do you ever see in movies where the main character's like, please, just give me a few days and I can pay it? They're like, this is the last time, Johnny. You know, like, it's in their best interest business-wise to just say, oh, yeah, we'd rather have money a few days from now than no money now. But because they want to really make you fear of them, it's like, no, you missed it. Now we're going to break your legs. You know, threatening to break people's legs, effective business tactic, as it so turns out. Anyway, yeah, it's really annoying having slime spawn. I think what we're going to do is turn them into lots of miniature slimes, because at least they can't hurt me. At least they can't hurt me. They can hurt my ears and they can hurt your ears, but who even has ears? So yeah, the idea of deterrent is interesting, because we use it on like a societal-wide level. But we don't really... It's considered like rude almost to use it on a person-to-person level, right? There is this distinct rudeness to be found in like, yes, I am going to make... But I feel as though it's like pretty essential for most things. Like, okay, there's a clear cutoff point. Like, if you're late once, wow, that's a crazy coincidence. You're late twice, huh? You know, something's happening here. Late 3 times in a row, it's like, okay, you're valuing your time above mine, I think is the societal phrase we use for that. You know, like, I think it has to be, like, gentle enough. But you also have to just say, yeah, at some point, this is explicitly rude. Also, yeah, this is a slime chunk. I can't tell you the bad luck that I have with slime chunks across so many of my worlds. It's rough. It's a whole thing. So, yeah, we're now just gonna wait while slimes ruin my day. And it's gonna be a lot of fun. Anyway, so, also, if you let one person have slack, everyone's gonna expect slack whether they need it or not. Yeah, no, it's a very interesting thing about, again, like, this consequence-based society we kind of live in. Because you prefer, something I was thinking about, because YouTube has this big thing where they let you know exactly how well a video is doing. They give you genuine fireworks if a video of yours has done well, and they have big gray colors to be like, boo, you did terribly. And so I just uploaded a video that took so much work, like both in terms of getting it done, but also in terms of editing it and like making a thing that I think people would watch. It went through so many edit revisions. You know, thank you, Samuel, for putting it together. And YouTube is like, boo, we don't like this. This is bad. And like, it's important for YouTube to tell their creators, like, yes, this is the content that's doing well that we're gonna push. This is the content we're not. Like, it's better for them to tell you than to just be like, yeah, some videos do well, some videos don't. Who knows which ones? But it's also like this heartbreaking thing to have like, yeah, this thing that I love, this thing that I cared about a lot has done badly. And I guess it was like a reminder that like in any creative space, because if you work on spreadsheets all day, we're gonna keep using those examples. Like, you either successfully fill out a spreadsheet or you don't, right? There's a obviously that video was so funny and upbeat. Yeah, I'm hoping it'll do well later. There's YouTube. There's like 2 times a video will do well on YouTube. One is immediately, one is 2 weeks after, and then if you're unlucky on both those times, randomly YouTube might recommend a video from years ago in the future. But again, I'd rather not wait years for a video I worked very hard on to be successful. So let's hope it's before then. Anyway, so yeah, the thing I wanted to say was that also, I think we should do this in nice... You know what? Fine. I'm just going to kill you. You've convinced me, slimes. You just all die. Are you happy with that? And so, yeah, there's this weird thing of, like, when you're given this, like, harsh, like, thing of, like, yeah, you did bad. Like, half of people are like, man, consequence? Yeah, this is my motivation to do better. And half people are like, okay, well, time to give up then, right? And finding the balance on what is a give-up situation versus what is a try-harder situation. you know, like, I tried to get into crime, but, you know, I kept getting caught. That's a give-up situation. And, you know, you wanted to be a, I don't know, you wanted to be a game tester or whatever. You know, your dream job, but people just won't let you do it. That's a try again situation, according to society. And so anyway, there's this fun thing of like, when do you put the effort in? When do you go into that? It's hard to be saying. Also, YouTube's so algorithmic based ATP. You can make media content, master the algorithm, and become constantly famous. Yet high quality videos, very low algorithm cheats won't get pushed. Yeah, it's like there is this fun thing in me that says like, well, I do hate it, but you know, is that like actually a fair stance? You know, like because the algorithm, you know, like people talk about the algorithm like it's literally a god, by the way, and I think that's crazy. Like, we talk about like the algorithm gives and the algorithm take F's away. But obviously it is just like, it's a set of code designed to work out what you, the viewer, are most likely to click. And so there are ways that you know, like as a creator, you, anyone can slightly, you know, hack, air quotes, the algorithm to make it slightly more likely to show my type of video. Which sounds like it's a good hack until you realize that literally every creator is encouraged to do this. And so you need to design an algorithm which takes into account. So for instance, like, oh, likes in the video. If someone likes a video, it must be good. No, if someone likes a video, it means, you know, like, overwhelmingly, that just someone told them to like the video. There's no correlation between likes and quality in a world where... There's a correlation between likes and how much someone's audience likes them, but not overall quality, right? So we have to slam that. And anyway, so long story short is... there is a good idea behind the algorithm. Like, we need to work out high quality videos because it is ultimately for helping things be discovered. But then they started overusing it. Like the problem, in my opinion, is that again, whichever metric they favor. Right now, it's 30 seconds watch time. If you make it to 30 seconds in a video, that's great, and click-through rate. If you click on a thumbnail, it will show the thumbnail to more people, but only if they watch at least 30 seconds. If you click on a thumbnail and watch 30 seconds of a video, that's great. And then past that, the higher percentage watch time, the more it knows this is a video that people are really interested in versus people might be interested in, right? So it just uses those factors together. Do you actually care about this internet? I feel like I'm diving into a topic that I'm really passionate about.
Hey,
and
Toy
like,
Cat. First time paying the tax, but a long time listener. You're my comfort YouTuber.
hey!
Anything added to Minecraft, what would it be?
Thank you so much, Haley R. Tanner. I'm not sure if that's like Haley Tanner or not. If I could add one thing to Minecraft, what would it be? I would love to see something... I'm not sure how to describe it. Like, I'd like to see some more fun endgame content. Like, that's actually, like, decision-based. I think a lot of stuff in Minecraft is just, there is the best stuff, go get it. I want to see more interesting decisions at the late game. Stuff like Elytra or chest plates, stuff like that. I'd love to see... I think they're trying this, and they're doing a pretty good job for the most part. Or, like, I don't know, just a new end boss. I would love if Minecraft went the multi-end boss route, where there's lots of different late game bosses to kill. I don't think you should have to, you know, like, I think there's this balance between, like, this boss is so good you will have to kill him to do the stuff that people want to do. Like, you know, killing a wither isn't essential, but, you know, if you want a beacon, and you're going to want a beacon at some point for a big mining project, it's a good idea to get one. I think you need something a little less powerful than a beacon, but, like, you need lots of things on that level. That's how I would design things if I was doing it. Also, thank you, Haley. I'm glad you find the videos to be a comfort. I know that's not necessarily directly what comfort YouTuber means, but I'm going to use it that way anyway, because it compliments me. Anyway, so, just watched 100-day update. Was happy to see you having such a good time. Yeah, no, I am very glad. Also, you're going to do Village Economics Part 3 like you did in 2019? That actually has been on my to-do list for a while, actually. Like, I never want to do a video if I'm not, like, certain I'm gonna have something interesting to add in there. And so that's, like, a key thing to make sure I'm being mindful of, I guess. Anyway, so yeah, we're just gonna leave a lot of baby slimes. Let's see if we can despawn them by running across to the other side. I don't imagine I can. It's not quite 4 chunks in length. But at least we can stop them from following me. Anyway, so are you enjoying yourself, Toy Cat? Says Left Sock. You better believe I'm always enjoying myself. Yeah, will you make a review on the Minecraft movie? It's just too good. It's too good for a mere mortal to review. So I'm just gonna quickly open my drink for today. I love miniature cans. I think I've said this before. Look at the size of this miniature can. It's like I just feel as though more drinks should come in smaller sizes. Like whenever I see people complain about shrinkflation is what it's called, where things are getting smaller and smaller, etc. I just always think like, for most things that are bad for you, that's a very good thing. Like, I am glad that there are fewer, I don't know, Doritos in a bag is a good example. When I buy a bag of Doritos, I'm eating too many Doritos, and so eating 10% fewer Doritos, yeah, that's a win to me. If I want more, if I was going for quantity, like, you know, you can buy super large bulk versions of everything for super cheap. But like, if you want to take away some of that, you can do it. Smallest sip I've ever seen. Okay, here you go. You happy with a big sip now? I had water in a can once. I feel as though the way water can works is like, people know that plastic water bottles are bad. We've had so many big campaigns about it. But like, is glass bottle good? I mean, if you recycle it, it probably is just, it's a lot better. Is canned water good? I mean, you can recycle cans. But I think it's one of these like ecological things of like, you need to have actually, yeah, whatever, you know. I'm still mad, you know, my recycling point that I will die on a hill off is I think it's crazy that we are expected to sort recycling in the country I live in and the country that you might... I know in the US it's true too. But like, if we are human beings who are not in tune to the recycling industry, and so we just throw things in the bin and hope that... It's like, no. We should have a big waste, and so that we don't get recycling in the regular bin and regular stuff in the recycling, there should be like some big machines that have been invented already. Just seems like a good idea, you know? Anyway, best thing for the environment would be a lot fewer humans. Yeah, the best thing you could do for the environment right now, I usually say is like, kill yourself. But I realize we can up this another way. You can kill someone else first. Multiple people, and you're doing a great thing for the environment. You know the reason that you shouldn't kill someone else, though? Besides the fact that, like, you know what? It's probably going to be messy, and they'll take you to prison, and you know, like, that'll be a drain on the net collector. Also, here's my tax. Please improve the driveway and other infrastructure to my house. I will not be taxed about representation. Thank you, Stephen Renfro, for the $5 tip. I also, thank you, nice stream, Vortexy. See, you know what? Is it really a nice stream, or are you just being polite? See, I can tell you're not just being polite because you tipped. But no, yeah, it's, like the... Oh my gosh. I swear it wasn't this bad before. I think this is the reason I gave up on it previously, by the way. Like, getting into a mining project, totally doable. Getting into a mining project when there's this many slimes bouncing around, it's a little bit harder. Yeah, I think the best thing you can do for the environment... But the reason you don't do that is because the net loss to their human life, etc., is really bad. You know, whenever we talk about issues, we talk about them in such a single-track way, without realizing that there's lots of other things that we really care about. Like, you know, like, oh, I think about this a lot, about how we're kind of dishonest with our own intentions sometimes. So, actually not. There's a whole thing in here about, like, you know, if you're really, really against... I know, it's like, it's on the internet, like, there used to be this, like, concept of, like, yeah, we think censorship is bad. I think that people should be able to say what they want, because we don't think that just because someone thinks that it's bad for, you know, like, you know, like, the idea of, like, removing video games like Grand Theft Auto or whatever. Yeah, there was this whole, like, movement around, like, yeah, censorship is universally considered bad. And then it's kind of, like, shifted a little bit. Like, a group of people who used to think they were pro, you know, like, let's call it freedom of speech is the catchy term people are using to talk about Twitter these days. But then, there was this whole movement of, like, yeah, I believe that you should just be able, you know, like, I think it's important to be able to express and to say and whatever. And then we kind of, and then like we realized that like, oh, somehow this is flipped around the opposite way than you'd expect. And I think the other thing that's interesting is, like, because you know, like I'm in favor of people being able to say what they want, except, oh no, not that. Makes you actually not in favor of people saying what they want. It means you're like you favor that versus the alternative, but it's a thing. I also care about the environmental impact of red rum, says Eden McMahon. I have no idea what red rum is. I didn't know rum came in. I thought it was a white or black affair only, you know? Anyway, yeah, so we're digging below our sugarcane farm. We're still making it good, in case you're curious, V. It's, there's a lot of mining to be done, but we're gonna do it today. We're just gonna stick at this mining game, and it's gonna be good. It's gonna be very fun. Anyway, I think Minecraft is guilty of overly censoring. See, Minecraft is an example where, even if they wanted to not censor, people can play the, oh, but there's children card. Because, again, as a society, we say, yeah, you can make your own decisions, except, whoa, whoa, whoa. You know, you're a child. Obviously, you can't make decisions. It's your parent that makes decisions for you. Oh, whoa, 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 whoa. Parents can't make decisions. They're busy doing jobs all day. We make decisions on behalf of parents, of course. And then we try and stretch of like, well, if we're making decisions for children, we should make decisions for teenagers. If we're making decisions for teenagers about what they can and can't see, because, you know, it'd be terrible if they saw this, then we should make decisions for everyone, just because, you know, teenagers will lie about their ages. So if we just, you know, everyone, and then we end up where we end up, right? But yeah, I think the other example of that I find really interesting is war. I would describe myself as, like, against the concept of war, right? I don't think we should use our might, resources, money, weapon. I think that everyone should stop attacking everyone else, and wouldn't it be nice if we didn't send people in to kill other people because that helped out our objectives, right? I mean, it's an entirely idealistic goal. You realize very quickly where that comes into conflict with the real world. Like, you know, should you use murder to stop someone from murdering someone? You know, like it's a hard question. So Cat sees every law as slippery slope into totalitarian dictatorship. There is the slippery slope is like a fallacy, right? But there is a real thing in there that everything is like a little bit of is a gateway into something else, right? What if someone attacks you? What do you do? See, right? Yeah, that's the point. Like, you realize very quickly why that's an idealistic goal, and you're not actually in favor of it. At least to me. Like, of course you need to. What if you see someone preparing to attack you? They're like, they're outside your house setting up a artillery cannon, pointing it at your house, and it's like, no, they haven't attacked you yet. They're just getting ready to. Then should you attack them, you know? What about, also, let's put the slimes down the hole. I don't know why I'm gonna enjoy this so much, but just, also, you know, I stopped playing Super Flat to get rid of you guys, and you followed me here, and I can't say I'm a fan of it. Anyway, are you building the platforms to the sugarcane while you mine, says Quinn and Crawford? I'm doing it occasionally, but right now I think we're gonna focus on the mining first. Mining comes first, everything else comes second. I'll point one at their house for mutual destruction. Self-defense isn't always self-defense. See, but that's the messy point, right? At least where I live, they've always taught you this way. But it's true for guns too. If you, I live in London. Stabbings are very, very common here. We have more knife crime than America has gun crime. The caveat there being that fewer people die in knife crimes, but it's just a lot bloodier. Anyway, so we have and you know, like saying any stat more than America has gun crime is like a fun starting point, right? But anyway, yeah. So we have a huge amount of knife crime. Stabbings happen a lot, and so because people are so worried about being stabbed, you know, like some form of confrontation happens. What ends up happening? Honestly, I know probably too much, right? Is people bring around a knife because they're like, if I have a knife, I can defend myself from a stabbing. However, having the weapon and like makes the confrontation more likely. Because if someone threatens you with a knife and says, "Yeah, what are you gonna do about it?" you go, oh god, and then cower away, and then you're good. Or maybe you give them your stuff. Whereas if you have a knife, now you pull out your knife and, you know, like blah, blah, blah. Same with a gun, right? If there's one person with a gun, they can, you know, start shooting people, but maybe they just threaten people with it. But if you threaten someone with a gun and they have a gun, then now they can pull out theirs. Now you get a standoff and everyone starts shooting and lots of people die. So that's like there's an argument that self-defense is not self-defense sometimes. But also there's an argument that like, well, if everyone has a gun, then everyone has a knife. Now you won't stab people because you'll get stabbed, right? There's a really fun there's a really fun argument for that in there somewhere. Just wear a stab-proof vest 24/7, says Pyrite. Yeah, that is what a lot of people. I mean, it's not what a lot of people do. It's the only technically safe thing. If you're like in a position where you know you're likely to be a target, that's what you do. But it's not a very good solution, right? I wonder if we could invent bulletproof armor besides like having knight armor, but like armor that could genuinely be bulletproof. Would people walk around like big cities wearing it? I don't think I know the answer. I genuinely do not. Would Mojang ever change the slime spawning mechanics? They're way too common after 1.18, 1.19. Actually, no, 1.18. Then use an anti-vest knife. You know, like, one of the things I always love about the universe is in... I don't think it's Star Wars, I think it's Dune that does this. I'm not, there's a fantasy universe, and the whole premise behind the fantasy universe is that, like, they're so far in the future that guns don't work anymore because everyone has these, like, shielding systems. And so that's why they use lightsabers or knives or, you know, whatever. That's why they go back to using swords, because you can't prevent a sword with computer technology. You can only wear, what, like a suit of armor. Anyway, so there's a fun thing about, like, being ready for self-defense can be, like, this argument that it's the safest way to be, or it can be an argument that you're actually provoking people. You're getting ready for that confrontation. Yeah, I don't know what the real argument there is, but my point is to say that a lot of people, I would say that you can't really be fully anti-war if you're in favor of war as a way to protect yourself from war, right? So I think the Ukraine situation probably is the easiest way to point out this out. Like, I agree that, like, man, big friend of what's happening. You know, big not fan of what's happening over there right now. Very bad, I would go as far as to say. However, at the same time, it's also like, well, there are so many people like, why is my country not doing so? Why aren't we going to war to protect them from their war or whatever else? And it's like, oh, so you know, it's almost like you're not actually anti the thing. You're just only in favor of it when it is good. And you know, when it is good is the problem, right? We have this system of power that functions on the idea that, like, yeah, we give power to a person in charge to do all these things, whether that's a police person, whether that's a post office worker, or whether that's a president or prime minister. There is a person that has X amount of power. They can do X, Y, Z thing. And although you might like the person who does the thing, I think it's always important to know that that person will change, right? That you need to not worry about the person who's there right now, like, who's the president of the United States? Never heard of him. He's definitely not a famous... You probably haven't heard of him either. I bet he's a unknown figure to you. But, also, we should get some torches out so we can start placing them down. Your interpretation of fun is worrying, says Mini Beeve. Your interpretation of fun is concerning. The thumbnail should have deep slate. You know what? You're right. I messed it up, Bluey. I messed it up. No, I'm doing a little bit of a test of stream thumbnails today. That's why we got a different one. I think this one is going poorly, based on the click numbers, etc. But we'll see. Hey, just tuning in. I hope all is well, Toycat. I need to update my card so I can become a member today, says Alec Hernandez. I learned today that Hernandez is the most common last name in Mexico. I bet you didn't know. I guess, actually, given your last name is Hernandez, you knew that. It's like how, what's the most common name in Islamic countries? It's like, it's the one name that every guy has, you know? It's like Muhammad. Muhammad is the most common. I don't know how that took me so long. I'm sorry. I'm terrible. I knew a guy called Hamid in school, actually. Maybe I'm giving away too much right now. But, He was like a drug dealer as I left school, and then I think he was stabbed in prison last time I checked up on him. Like, he was a really nice guy, so it's a shame, you know? You know, that's an interesting, you know, I keep talking about stabbings, right? Let's bring up the mood a little bit, I'm sorry. But no, yeah, finally an honest title of a live video, says Anna Docheva. I like the literally doing X series. It's been so long since we've done it. Former guy was a dictator. You know what? How about tell me every fun, controversial political opinion right now? See, I want to do that, but I'd turn off chat to do so, but I can't. My favorite color personally is blue. Thank you, Orange Brian Smith. That's where this is inevitably heading. I think it's clear. Yeah, I like that we can just slowly avoid slimes if we do this, but then we don't get to fast mine. The whole benefit of today's stream is like, do some mining, do it fast. But we can't really take advantage of that when all these slimes are out here. How about we just kill them all? You know what? Let's just do the thing where they all die, and then another one spawns, and it's no issue. Honestly, for real though, slimes. I think there's this like double-edged sword of every mob that is fun and interesting. When they stop it being rare, you realize, oh god, I didn't like it at all. It was fun and interesting because it was rare. So you can actually breed wolves to kill slimes for you. It's a good idea. That's a good idea. How many blocks have you mined? That'd be a fun idea if we had a little counter that just ticked up everywhere. The bad idea where we dehumanize people. I was thinking, right, about, in the same way that we have penalties for failure that incentivize people, right? Oh no, if you show up late to work too many times in a row, they stop giving you money because you're no longer employed there. And so everyone shows up on time to work every day. You know, even your friend that always can never show up late or never show up on time to meet you up, he shows up to work every day on time, which means he's not just a late running person, he's a deprioritizing person, right? Or alternatively, so scared of the consequence that you don't do the thing. Or you know, whatever else the example. I keep using that example, by the way, and it's like the easiest example of just something where it's like, we agreed to meet at X, and then you don't. Okay. Anyway, but an interesting example to me is the idea that like bad things will make you better. So you know, like suffering's a really interesting one. Like, because some people just agree that like, okay, so bad things should happen to you. You know, if you do a bad, and that way you'll be more encouraged to do a good. At least you still get super chats when you show up late to streams, says Michaela. It's true. You know what? Is me showing up late to streams me showing up late to work? There's an interesting question for you. But no, yeah, my point though was to say that some people take it like a step further and they say, it's not that we have disincentives for doing bad things. I think that suffering is an essential part. And it's interesting because I actually would agree with like the dictators of the world that suffering is to some extent essential. Like do you ever see people who have clearly never had anything terrible happen? And sometimes they're like really well put together people. And they're like aware of their like perfect situation. But like most of the time, it's just people who are like really unaccustomed to even the slightest thing going wrong. Because that's not what they're used to, like, you know? It's, you know, imagine you're, like, so wealthy, you've never had, you know, like, to worry about, I don't know, a bill. Or, like, you know, you only buy, you know, like, expensive cars brand new because, like, oh, when the warranty runs out, that's when you gotta get rid of the car, because otherwise it could break down or something, and that's basically more expensive. Anyway, so, you're your own boss, says Mr. Al. Exactly. I set your own schedule for streams, so can you ever be late? Exactly. I agree, Amanda. You know what? That's exactly what we need to be hearing here. Anyway, so I think that there's like a certain extent of like suffering actually is like an essential part of the human experience to some extent. Again, there's big caveats and there's big limits on how that works, etc. However, I do think that despite suffering being essential, the level that some people take it to, you know, like you can't enjoy you know, like the best things in life without a little bit of the bad. Like, I think that's why some people argue they only work because they absolutely have to. But a lot of people realize, no. You need to have that work in there. Even though you hate work when you show up to it, it makes you appreciate not work so much more. Also, thank you, Fusion Warrior. Slimes are the second worst part of my 64 chunk dig to bedrock. The worst part is that 1.18.30 is so broken I can't even continue on my round. Have the round dollar. Yeah, I have heard there's a memory leak bug with the server version of this update. Minecraft needs to stop releasing memory leaking bugs. It feels like a thing that they should have stopped a long time ago. But I really do think about how they should maybe do that. Do you dread your job, Toy Cat? Says Mr. Owl. Okay, let me tell you about what I dread about my job. I have to, like, having to send, like, an invoice to a company. Like, you know, doing, like, emails, I dread. I genuinely dread it so bad that I don't do it most days. I'm like, oh, no. I'm gonna have to, like, say what... You know, like, you don't just say, like, yo, no, yes. It's like, ooh, following up from your previous inquiry, I would like to add that there is a... And it's like, oh, God. Like, emails genuinely make me, like, I don't know, sick to the core. Also, let's put these in, like, the corner, I think we should do. So emails are terrible. And there's a few other parts of my air quote job that I air quote hate. But also we're going to go get this clay now, because there's just a lot of it floating up here. We can do better than that. I hope that you're a sadist who merely longs to hurt people without forcing it. The alternative scaly bears are thinking about. So no, my point was to say that, like, I don't think you should hurt other people, right? People need to make that discovery on themselves. When you try to force pain onto people and be like, it makes you better, trust me. Not only is that like a scary, worrying line of thought, but it's also like ooh, yeah, that's gonna break someone in some interesting ways. You know, like, you might teach them the value of a good day of work by teaching people that suffering is an innate part of the human experience, or you might, you know, raise a sociopath or a serial killer or whatever else. Like, it's concerning. You gotta watch out for what you're doing and how you're doing it, right? That should go without saying. But I do think that, like, on an individual level, you'll learn that, like, okay, things are better. Something interesting to me is, like, whenever you dread something, the moment after that dread is done, like, again, for me, it was always giving presentations, which I know is ironic given that I'm giving a 2-hour presentation right now about mining in Minecraft and the suffering that is inherent in the human condition. But, like, you know, I used to dread giving presentations. The moment they were done, though, I was like, so much of a weight was lifted off my shoulder, right? I wonder if you could use an AI to respond to emails for use as expeditious. Yeah, honestly, I think I might. I did something recently and I got, like, automated responses that look like they're handwritten. That's been working well for me. That's been, you know, like, I don't know, just emails as a concept, like, some like, I don't know, social human being out there is laughing at the terrible thing they did with that. Anyway, so, say this the better, they let you choose to walk out the door. I can't tell you about my experiences or not with sadists, hate to tell you. Anyway, so, yeah, you stream a lot, cat boy, says Cut Buster Sharp. I'm glad you think I stream a lot. I like to stream about 2 to 3 times a week. Sometimes more. I'd say 1 to 3 times a week is the average. It's just some weeks we end up doing a lot more. Some weeks we do less. Tomorrow I can't stream, but on Thursday we got some super flat to do. I love doing presentations. I'm the master of PowerPoint, says Ambo. No, the thing, like, I like a good presentation is good, don't get me wrong. It's just also like, man, you give one too many disinterested rooms of PowerPoints, and it shouldn't be terrible. You should realize that, like, well, what else you can do is people zone out. But there's just something about it that I think is, you know, it's like you have to be saying to yourself, like, I'm important enough that I think a whole room of people should be listening to me. And again, not lost in the fact that, like, I'm saying, what is this? It's like a medium-sized room. This is like a large room. This is like a professor lecture, right? I don't even know. Anyway, so I was just sitting there knitting, then holy crap, there's a stream came right out of the blue. Okay, so Kat, I'll tell you about this one. I'll tell it as if it's just to you. But everyone else, you can listen in if you want to know the secret as to how to know there's going to be a live stream. I have an unlisted live streams playlist. It's, you know, it's linked down below, probably. If it's not, it's on the channel under playlists. And I always schedule as unlisted when I think I'm going to be doing a live stream. And then I make it public later. I used to make them public first, but then there's such a huge pressure, and I'm like stressed all day. I'm like, oh god, I'm going to stream later. Whereas it's so fun to just like load up and be like, I think I'd like to stream. It's such a, again, this is like the weird thing about obligation. Like, I'm really bad at doing things that I'm obligated to. But I really enjoy, what is it, what's the term for this? Like, being spontaneous. I really enjoy a bit of spontaneity. I didn't check bad moderator lol. Oh, no issue. I was just like, in case you really, in case like, it's my way of letting you know. Also, a pillager raid spawned in here. What is with that, huh? Honestly, I don't think I want to kill him. I want his banner. We'll just milk away the effect. There we go. But yeah, to be fair, I usually get a warning from YouTube. You know, I can tell from the, again, like, I've got, like, certain stats that help me follow this. I can tell from those stats that something went a bit wrong. Anyway, so, going back a few topics, if that's okay with you, Internet. Same here, I detest feeling obligated to do things. But it's also, like, that goes back to the much earlier thing of, like, you know, that effectively I'm making a penalty for failure. If I don't stream when I've set up a stream time, people will be disappointed in me, right? So, maybe not many people, maybe not very disappointed, but it's enough for me to, like, think about and be stressed about. Whereas if it's unlisted, it's like, yeah, some people will know. If you're really hardcore, you'll know roughly when I'm planning, and it's the whole thing. Anyway, yeah, I think a lot of issues in society come down from this, like, way that we throw obligation and expectation onto each other. Like, a lot of our very biggest issues are on this same idea that we just don't. Also, I'm gonna mine this stuff here. I don't know where these baby slimes came from. You know, I'm just gonna get the lapis. This is a good time for my lapis supply, huh? Any diamonds yet, says Cyber? No, we probably are gonna find quite a lot of diamonds when we get down to that layer, though. For what it's worth. So that'll be nice. That'll be slightly nice, at least. I'm just gonna throw this on the ground, and it's gonna despawn later. I can't really afford to do the same with the redstone, and so instead we'll just pick up some of the cobble deep slate, and let's go up real quick, just because I've got a banner that I want to keep, you know, a little bit too badly. And then also we'll take up some slime balls. We shouldn't take up the slime balls. Let's take up a stack of these instead. And then also, if we're gonna take some tough, we're gonna make sure we max out the tough. Okay, so we need to get out. Oh, I always just fly out. That's what I do. Yeah, I think that, like, so much of life, society, whatever else, is just effectively, like, this, like, obligation transfer that we live in as a society. And, like, feeling like, you know what, I don't know if I like that so much. Like, you know, every month you have to pay your bill, or someone will follow you around and be like, hey, like it if you could do that. I don't know. Life is wasted on the living, says Dan Marsh. I think, because we always talk about, like, oh yeah, freedom to do whatever you want and to live your... But in reality, like, there's no true, like, freedom and this quote or that. Like, it's always like, yeah, there are big, very important tasks that need to be done to simply function, right? You don't get to... You know, like, on the simplest level, it's like, you can't just play video games because you need to do things that pay for rent and you know, like you. And so in the same way, life is a bit like, okay, we're gonna keep on throwing things out here. But yeah, it's like, if you want to do the thing you want to do, make sure you've done the thing for this first. And like, let's break some blocks, says Alex Gorkaz. Let's do it. Autism is a massive diagnostic criteria, but for some reason it's unnecessarily hard to diagnose if you're a teenager or older, says Lucien, which is a repeated chat, so it's something that you really want to say. I'm not sure what you expect me to say about it, but I will say, just to throw something here, because clearly, I guess okay, I've got some opinions. So, I think the thing that people don't realize about the healthcare system, especially in countries where it's publicly run, but even in countries where it's not, the incentive of the healthcare system is not to make you feel good. It is to make you function. Right? Like, you don't go to the emergency room and go, oh, my back's been hurting a little bit for the last 3 weeks. Right? It is, if I will die if my back is not looked at because I just had a fatal accident. You know, I just got in a motorcycle crash and I'm losing a lot of blood. And so that's the point of that, right? And so when you go to the regular doctor, if you're like, yeah, I'm just not sure if I'm fine, that's not a problem. If you're not sure if there's an issue and all of your body parts working fine, there's no problem. And so mental health is like another step below that, where you know, if it's not actively destroying parts of your life, then will a diagnosis really help anything? You know, I'm not just for your thing, but because given on the internet, you know, we're getting better and better, or bigger and bigger on the idea, I would have to say, of diagnosing ourselves. What if we were all mental health psychs? Anyway, but yeah, the idea is like, okay, if you're being a really annoying child at school, they give you medicine that makes you less annoying, partially for your benefit, but partially for everyone else's. Like, ease the friction on society. And so, like, yeah, that's why in general. You know, like, the example I think that's also a big one is like, what is it? What is the term for it? The dysphoria thing, like, for trans people, right? Like, they're like, okay, there's this type of health, there's this service I would really like. I would like to, you know, change the thing that is going through my body. You're same with a mental health thing. Like, I would like to change the way my body reacts to serotonin or whatever else. And they go to a doctor and they're like, you know, until you're at the stage where it's like, definitely a problem. And the reason why is we have very, you know, few resources for that stuff compared to the need, perhaps you could say. And the other reason why is that, you know, the further reason is that we, the further reason is, totally lost my train of thought there. The further reason why is just like, yeah, if it's not a bit, you know, there are so many things wrong with everyone. Like, I've heard, I don't know if this is true, but I've heard that if you do, if you do like a full body scan, they're gonna find problems with you that you wouldn't know about yourself. Just like, yeah, your body is broken in all sorts of ways right now. Your femur is slightly disoptimal. Your kidney is probably functioning 10% less than a normal one. But like, those things aren't problems unless, you know, your kidney being 10% less than normal, never gonna be a problem unless you use your kidney way more than normal. Your liver malfunctioning isn't a problem. Your liver being slightly less functional than normal isn't a problem unless you've got, you know, so on and so forth. I think that we're filled with these like slight problems, and the slight problems aren't the things you focus on. It's the, you know, it's that phrase like squeaky wheel gets the oil. When something gets very bad, you should probably fix that thing, right? No being riches, says Chris Ingle. Well, I mean, that's the other level. So, obviously, the richer you are, the more time you have to some extent. But also the higher standard you have for everything about yourself. And also, in the case of countries where money is a factor, which is the overwhelming majority of them, the more you are able to actually pay the people to look at the thing. And so whatever. You get the point here. Like, it seems really rough, but it's also just, well, we do live in a, you know, so during COVID, something that horrified people was this idea of triaging. So I remember early days in like Italy. Anyway, so you know you in his stomach is like there's like some bubbles in there. You ever heard of that? Anyway, so in the early days of Italy in the pandemic, they had to decide like we can only treat some. You know, we have more patients than we have capacity. What do we do? And so there's this like medical triaging process where they had to decide like, okay, who is going to get the medical treatment and who is going to go without. Effectively, to some extent, because you know that treating people medically will increase their odds of survival, effectively deciding who has a higher chance of living, who has a higher chance of dying. It's like a scary thing for most people. Like that is a trait that humans are not very good with. And anytime we talk about it on like a public policy level or like a corporation level, right? It's like, no one should be deciding who lives and dies. But actually, doctors have to decide all day, every day. Anyway, so basically, the traffic light system. Yeah, right. And there's actually two ways you could see it. I think it's a really interesting debate. So if you have two patients, right? They're both in hospital because they're having some serious symptoms with their breathing disorder, respiratory disease. One of them is like 80. Has a 10% chance of surviving if you treat them, 0% chance of surviving if you don't treat them. Or let's say 1%. Whereas the healthy person has a 90% chance of surviving if you treat them, and a, I don't know, 50% chance of surviving if you don't treat them. Should you treat the person who is almost certainly going to die if you don't treat them? Like get everyone up to a fighting chance? Or do you say that, okay, we just need to do the best we can. The people who are most likely to survive, we go for them. You can kind of see it both ways, because, during the last 2 years, something that we've all, this is a philosophical debate we've been having to have out and open, because we've been arguing, should we restrict society for the benefit of people who might need to use a hospital? Because that might sound like it's like a few people, but everyone needs to use a hospital at some point, especially during a global pandemic. Your odds of that go up. And that's like an argument that yeah, we should all pitch in, we should all take some treatment back step so that we can maximize the survival rates of everyone. And on the societal level, right, we pick the opposite answer. On the societal level, we're yeah, everyone needs to be given the tiniest of chances we can, even if we all give in a year and a half of our lives or whatever. But on the hospital level, they go, yeah, we treat the people with the best odds of surviving. Also, thank you so much, Cody Brenner, for becoming a remember. You're gonna catch up this week. Gonna watch them and make an extreme sugarcane farm. That's something I'm looking forward to doing in my super flat world, right? It won't be that extreme, but it's gonna be fun. That's what really matters. It's really incredibly pressing, but also true that we mostly care about whether other people will hurt us or not. I think it's a reasonable stance, because there's that thing of you can care about everyone all of the time, and eventually you're gonna get burned and realize, oh, this is why everyone doesn't care about everyone all of the time. Because some of the people you care about won't care about you right back, and will even actively, anti-care about you. Will actively make your life worse for you. I love the super flat, but I miss the Let's Play streams. Yeah, no, it's definitely. I definitely always want to keep working on some big projects here. But it's also, there is a funny thing I noticed where if I stream a big project as I'm doing it, I kind of change it. It changes how I do something. The Deep Dark project was fun, but you know what, whatever. Psychiatrist, but basically talk to your PCP about getting diagnosed. Yeah, I think I had a conversation once with a doctor. I was like, I'd like to just see what's going on with this thing. Could you check up on that? They're like, I have no idea how diagnosing that in adults go. I'll get back to you. And then they didn't. It's funny actually, again, these same bad personality traits that you're oh, that's a lazy person thing. It's the doctors are can be filled in, because doctors are people. Every position that we elevate to high authority, even if you think oh yeah, well I mean, I think everyone realizes of president in the last while recently, but it's the same is true for doctor or teacher or whatever else you want to say. Trusted figures in society, Man, there's some crazy oddballs in there. I'm not gonna... I have a family member, a very close family member, who works in healthcare, and the insane stuff they say and / or do makes me go, oh god. The fact that you are trusted around people, that is a scary fact. You know, the fact that one day I might be in a hospital and you would be there. Oh, okay, that definitely just normal people. You should make a beacon to speed up the process, says Antantelope. Nah, I'm taking it the slow way, huh? Honestly, I really do hate setting up beacons. I think that is the worst part of beacons. Like, if it was just 9 gold blocks in the beacon, yeah, we'll do it. But then people are like, why isn't it level 2? And it's like, oh gosh, yeah, let's not even. By the way, we're about to approach an hour left. That means we're halfway through. Whoa, we're halfway there now. Whoa, we're living on a... Yeah, I think that's the song, right? I was worried halfway through that. I was like, is it halfway there? But I got it. We're all good. Yay, Toy Cat is alive. Happiness level plus 100. Thank you, little C. I'm glad that your happiness goes up when I'm streaming. Did you know that 99% of house fires happen to be people who aren't subscribed to IBX Toy Cat? Ambulances wouldn't go to people who weren't breathing, that sort of thing. I wouldn't go to people who weren't breathing. Man, that's complex, huh? You know, I learned... Okay, okay, one of the things I genuinely can't wrap my head around, because again, it's not the society I'm growing up in. In the US, ambulances cost money, right? Well, of course, because you know someone's gonna But I don't understand how they cost so much money. I was like, man, it costs $1,000 for an ambulance ride. How does that make sense? And then I thought, okay, well, you know, the thing everyone always says, which is like, oh, it's private companies profiteering. And I was like, okay, sure. That seems like a believable thing. Like, of course, someone's making so much money on $1,000 ambulance rides. But then I learned ambulance rides are operated by the they're operated by the city in most big cities. Obviously, if you live in rural nowhere, there's a private company doing it. But like in a big city, like there is a department of the government doing it. And it's like, and it costs $1,000 a ride, and they lose money. They charge $1,000 for an Uber ride. Admittedly, like they've got some like trained staff and everything else. But like, man, I don't even. It's so confusing to me. But yeah, I think everything's confusing when you come at it from a fresh perspective. Like, you know, I think so regularly about like. Isn't it messed up that you have to pay money just to live? You know, like, shouldn't there be someone... And then, you know, like, obviously the reason that it's not is because, like, yeah, it's not like that stuff is free to the person providing it to you. Although, is that, like, you know, like, that's a weird argument because, you know, like, everything that is free costs money to someone, right? Oh, gosh. Like, free samples at Costco? They're paying money for that. It's just under the assumption of more money in the future. And so you gotta like find like, okay, what things can we make like that but in the real world? Anyway, here in South Africa we have private and government ambulances. Lewis Boffer, tell me what the benefit of using the private ones over the government one is.
Next US ambulance ride.
So first of all, thank you very much, David Salamana. You know, what's the deal with ambulance? Why do they cost so much money? Is it like, do they cost that much money here and I just don't know because it's included in my taxes? Like oh gosh, okay, it fell down a hole. That's fine. Knew it would happen eventually. It's okay. You actually, something a lot of people say, like very non-ironically, is like, wow, you better watch out. Going to America, huh? That's like, don't you hear? It costs like $1 million to, you know, like to go get your teeth taken out. You know, let's say like something like that. It's funny because I actually have health insurance for the US, like it's travel insurance, I should say. But because it covers me for like, it's something quite long. It's like up to 91 days in a trip, something like that. And it has no excess for up to $5 million of medical care. And so I've been like, I think I'm good. I think in reality, though, like, you know, is hell like okay? Here's the like, what do you want to call it? Like red pill? Is it red pill or is it blue pill?
Tuft is such a pretty block. I wish it had crafting variations.
Ooh, I don't know if I agree with that one, Poison Heart 96. I don't know if I agree with that one. Chat, is Tuft pretty? Also, I hate slime so much. Also, look at them. They can attack you twice per second. It's just the worst thing. Yeah, we're gonna bounce up here. Yeah, first of all, okay, you know what, chat? Is Tuft a pretty block? I just feel as though, sorry, Tough. Is Tough pretty? Okay, I've done it in the chat. Yes, it is, but not by itself, says Fixand. I mean, that's cheating. Like, everything's pretty in the right context. Like, I'm pretty if you surround me by 10 supermodels and then hide me behind them. And it's like, well, I mean, that's kind of definitely moving the bar a little bit there, right? Fun fact, we say tough a lot in Scotland, as in like tough. You know, what's the context behind saying tough a lot in Scotland? I don't even understand that. Yeah, we just have too many mobs in here. I am not enjoying the mobs. This is okay. Well, actually, let's let the creeper blow up. Like, what's gonna happen? You know, like, oh no, is he gonna destroy some of the blocks for me? Anything's pretty after a few beers. Okay, so chat is it's like very 50-50 torn on this. That is actually surprising to me. That is very interesting. Okay, so we'll leave a few of these guys alive, actually. Anyway, so, I think that, Tough is good for making a cave themed. Well, not anything. I think a really interesting, argument to dive to the bottom of this one is health like a, is health, okay, so you know how insurance works, right? Just, you'll do, but I'm going to explain it just to, you know, kind of set the backdrop here. Bad events happen randomly. You know, what are the... Your house catching fire, assuming you're not subscribed, IBX Toy Cat, obviously it can just happen on a random basis. It's not going to happen today. It's not going to happen tomorrow. When it happens, it's a really bad event. It's one you can't really prepare for, and that just financially ruins you. So rather than being financially ruined once every 100 years or 200 years or whatever it is, wouldn't you rather pay 1/100,000th of being financially ruined, which is a cost everyone can afford quite cheaply, you know, £30 a month. And now your house fires, you're going to be covered. I have a house insurance. If this house burns down, genuinely, I think I'd be excited if my house burned down. As long as it wasn't my fault, and you know, as long as I had someone to deal with the insurance for me, I would be excited because, like, oh, I get to build it from scratch. The land, okay, so I bought my house for a mega million YouTube dollars, but it actually only costs about a quarter of that to rebuild the house, because the cost, like the valuable thing that I own is land, and land can't burn down, I don't think. And so what I'd get to do is I'd get, you know, like a huge payout, and then I'd get to rebuild the house, and that way I'd get to rebuild it from scratch. I'd get like a, you know, hotel while it's being done. And it'd be the perfect house from scratch. Rather than changing everything slowly. And like, for the last year, I've been having like strangers come into the house, etc, etc, etc. I work so I can pay for fuel to go to work. You should ride a bike, friend. My husband would be excited if I die. I worth more than 50k than him. Should be really suspicious if, you know, you should start making your own meals more often. That's all I'm saying. Anyway, so, my point there is just to say that insurance is this idea of like pulling against collective risk. Pulling against individual risk collectively, I guess might be a better way to put that. And so, oh my god. Like, if I didn't have an Elder Guardian, I would just play on Peaceful. I genuinely feel as though I'm that anti-slime spawning. We'll just leave the little slimes. I know I hate the little slimes, but look how many of them are just falling down here. Okay, so we'll leave all the little slimes here, even though those annoy me too. It's the lesser of two evils. Anyway, so, missed the Let's Play, but glad it's back. Are you still traveling to Malaysia, South Africa, /UAE on new plans? I do have plans. It's funny, I actually switched them out for plans to go to Argentina. Couldn't go to Argentina. Would still like to go to Malaysia, but I'm going to Italy. Is my new weirder plan, I guess. It's, you know, I do want to go to okay, you know, if you want to know my travel plans, you know, it's you, Pete Candle. I'll give you the inside scoop. No one else listen. Everyone shut off your ears right now. My travel plans for the immediate future is I'm going to a small city in Italy for a weird video. And then I've got something planned. It's not like booked up. I've got like the goal is to go somewhere outside of Europe. You know, get some fun in. And then I'm going to be going to the US for some more road trip in about a month. About 3-4 weeks, actually. So, okay, thank you everyone for not listening to my travel plans. Appreciate it. Yeah, no, I'm always worried, like, you can't announce that stuff too far in advance, right? You tell people where you're at, bad things gonna happen to you. Find slime chunk, dig all the way down, mob proof. That, honestly, I know they all spawn on one side, so that actually is a smart idea. You know, okay, so I know the chunk is gonna run from 16 to 32, because it has to be a chunk, which is just, so over to here. Although actually I think 0, you know, we'll just mine here. Okay, and then where is the chunk gonna run on the other side? Like, I don't even need to look up the chunk. I can just work it out. The chunk on the other side is gonna run down to, what is divisible by 16? 320, take away 32 from 320, you get 288. Take away 16 from 288, and you get 272, I think. So this is the chunk we're gonna dig out now. Thank you so much, Brandon TGS. GB. It's hard to know when to put them back in if we can't hear. You can put them in. Put the... There you go. Only America, so I can't go to America for some form of road trip. I do have an end destination, actually. Can I tell you about my road trip? I want to tell you about my road trip. I'm really excited about this. Okay. This is my, I've had the happy euphoria. I want to tell you all about Thinkikin. And so now I'm going to ignore absolutely everything else until I've told you all about my road trip. Because I learned to drive last year, and I think, you know, I have a license, but is that learning to drive or is that learning to have a legal requirement to drive? Hey, thank you.
Happy to catch a stream. Smile. I hope you are well. What are your hopes for the 1.20 update?
Okay, so 1.20, as the text-to-speech voice put it. But it's good to see you, Michelle OO. I hope you're still doing well. You know, I know you're still doing well. There we go. See, that's called confidence. Anyway, the 1.20 update. The biggest hope is a new dimension, right? If you don't say if that's your biggest hope, then you're lying to everyone. And sorry to tell you, but lying is a crime. You're under arrest. Put your hands up right now. But no, more seriously, I would say that's the big thing, right? I mean, is there anything else that's like big? Probably not. Okay, so next point there is road trip. Okay, I want to tell you about my road trip so much. Okay, so I think that we're gonna focus singularly on this. No tips to distract me now. Okay, so I'm really excited for this because I learned to drive. I did a little bit of road trip, but like I had to be back in Canada to return the car, and so I didn't want to go too far from the Canada-US border because I knew like if I go too far, I'll be stranded. However, sacrifice my last $2 for you. Thank you, Dax Kaczynski. Poor use of $2, but I appreciate you giving me money because I'll use it for one of the things along this trip. Okay, so I'm not gonna let myself get distracted, chat. I'm really excited because this is gonna be my first like one-way road trip. Because I did one I wanted to test how it works. So I did it in the UK. I went from London to Scotland, Inverness if you're curious. I crossed the entire country, and it was a little bit exhausting to do it in like a day and a half. But it wasn't terrible. It was like, it was a little bit of fun, you know? And so the plan is to do the same distance, but like 3 times over, all the way from not the East Coast, but near the East Coast, all the way to not the, I'll just say it. It's going to Vegas, my favorite city. And so the plan is to like go from there to there, but I want to tick off as many new states as possible. So I'm gonna like weave through there, It's gonna be a lot of fun. Yeah, one-way road trip. Exactly. I'm gonna start on the east, end in the west, and the car is I can drop off the car there. I'm not gonna have to drive all the way back across the country. Because that's the scariest thing to me about doing a road trip. If you're like I'm a car owner. I really like that my car takes gasoline and it has oil changes every now and then. I don't like car ownership. Sounds exhausting to me. Also, Cat Beanie, thank you very much for using your membership. Remember to tell people to tip. I still have to go to Vegas since it didn't work in 2020, lol. Oh, what happened in 2020? That sounds terrible. Was there a bad thing that year or something? No, yeah, I hope you make it to Vegas sometime. It's a very fun city. I'll be there in however long it takes to drive from the East Coast to Vegas. Anyway, was that a country accent, says Fern. No, that was a car-owning accent. This is the accent the people who own cars have. I guess I'm actually just saying that, I don't know what I'm doing right here. Anyway, so, yeah, the long story short, also, I love all the slimes bouncing around. They've started to become part of the scenery. Anyway, so I'm really excited about the road trip. I think this might be like a full, like, second channel stream. I could talk about this forever, just like all the places I'm excited about. I'd love to like hear random recommendations, right? Anyway, I went to Vegas 5 years ago. It was so good, says Rubikin. The way I would describe Vegas to people is like it's a whole city dedicated to entertainment. A lot of that is like adult entertainment, like not in the sense of like ooh XXXY or whatever. It's like no. It's just like entertainment that isn't focused. Because okay, this is the can I don't want to criticize anyone watching this right now, so shut your ears if you're like, you're a Disney person. But like adults who get enthusiastic about Disney, like I get it, it's cute, like I bet you're gonna make great parents one day probably. But also it's like if you're like childless and also don't intend to have children, and Disney's still your favorite thing, it's like ooh, like just tell me, just announce that you had a traumatic childhood event, like you don't have to say it in such non-specific ways. Anyway, so I think that I think Disney's like a fun like vibe, right? But it's also like it's like Minecraft official YouTube channel videos sometimes where it's like it's communicating so hard to children that they're not doing a good job communicating to everyone else. Like I think Pixar does a really good job. They're a Disney studio now, right? They do a really good job of like making themes that work for everyone. It's family friendly. It's not families exclusively. It's not, this is a movie that you only enjoy in that way. You understand the east coast of Vegas is gonna be 3,000 miles, right? Says Dan Marsh. Yeah, and cars can go what, like 200 miles per hour? So like that'll be next to nothing. Also help Toycat get a bed frame, says Alcazar, streamlabs.com/Toycat. If you want to know the reason I don't have a bed frame, it's actually, this is the bougiest sentence I'm ever gonna say. You're welcome, internet. Also 99% of the reason why people procreate is to watch cartoons about being weird. Honestly, I've been considering, like, wouldn't it be fun to have a little hobby running around? Just for the sake of being able to go to parks and like adventure, like the adventure playgrounds and stuff. I just wanna spend time in those, honestly. That'd be enough to make me happy. What the heck, Toycat? Your job's playing a children's game? Don't diss adults who like fun. No, my whole point there was like, the whole point should not be children. Children can be like, okay, sure, it's children family inclusive. But when you exclusively communicate to children, it's just so exhausting. I personally, that's not my thing. Again, I actually think that people who like can enjoy that, who like that, man, you're gonna make great parents. I'm like genuinely really excited for your future and or current offspring. Like they're gonna have like really cool parents. We need people like that to exist. There's a reason those traits are common in humans, but it's not me. I'm not like Papa Toycat around the fire, telling tales about whatever else. So yeah, Okay, I think I can't get back up there anymore. Yep, oopsie. Also, Kerry Rusk, please kill the slime. The noise is insufferable. You know what? Just for you, I shall kill the slime with my fist. This is gonna, just to see if we've actually slime-proofed it, because I don't imagine we actually have. And then we make a little tunnel that only we can fit through, like round the edge here. We'll put a torch in the side there, and then we'll go through. But yeah, I went down a slide on Sunday in a swing. Good times. See, I'm jealous of that, right? That's like, I go to a park and I do those things. Someone's calling the police. Someone's like, there's a 26-year-old man here, might be on drugs? Question mark. You know, it's an interesting like society. You know, and I think that I think that's like an interesting thing that like we can use that to make parents excited. Because you know, being actually excited to do child things with your child is like, it's hard sometimes, right? Like, oh yeah, please tell me more about blah 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 blah. Can you turn down mop sounds? That'd be a better place if you could. I forgot that Minecraft had dedicated audio toggles. That's like a new thing to me. Let's go in there. Let's turn down hostile creatures a little bit. Actually, I don't want them too low down, because I want to be able to hear creepers, you know? But 80 seems fair, right? We'll also turn that down a little bit. Maybe that too. Yeah, there we go. So much better now the slimes are gone, says Kerry Rusk. You're welcome. See? If you give people a hard time to go to the park, you go tell them to pound sand. Yeah, that's not helping with the whole, like, there is a dangerous man at the park, I'd like him arrested vibe, you know? No, I think in reality, most people don't care. I honestly, the way I see it is parks are like adults only past 5 or 6 p.m. anyway. I've taken many a date to a park. It's the it's the place to get. It's the place to be. Everyone loves the park. It's a cheap date too. You know, everyone's always like, "Ooh, take her out to expensive Italian restaurants." It's like, no. What you want to do is you want to go to the free public play park. I don't know, a library, and then you cook at home and like, ooh, so thoughtful. Cooks for himself. Yeah, let's bring our 1-year-old to this expensive park for them. Makes no sense to me. I think there's a lot of things that are like aimed at kids, but then actually subtly aimed at adults as a way to be like, look how well you're treating your child. Like, you ever think about, I talk about a lot, like children on tablets and phones and stuff. Like, there are lots of devices that are marketed at kids, but really it's marketed at parents as a way to be like, yeah, do you want your children to not exist for 3 hours? Give them this movie. They're gonna like it enough that they won't bother you. You can get back to your stuff. When you get here to Vegas, there's a British pub by UNLV. It's deeply terrible. Hey, Dan Marsh, you're from Vegas. That's cool. You should. I lived in Vegas for about 3 months in the pandemic. Best decision I ever made, by the way. I went to that very same British pub. And it was terrible. Wait, Dan Marsh, you'll appreciate this. I've got a video, I think it's on the 3rd channel, of me eating at that British pub. I'd go into it right now, but whenever we distract a stream to talk about, to watch my own videos, it gets a bit conceited very quickly, so we just won't. Everything for kids under 12 is marketed to parents. I think that, yeah, I think that's it's called the, there's a term for this. The word for that, it's called, like, marketing to the decision maker. You need to market to your intended audience, but it's way more important to market to the person who actually makes the decisions. You know, it's like with a business. You ever close a deal real good, and then, I mean, I'm making a hypothetical here, but this is a real thing that happens all the time. You close down a deal real good, you're like, yeah, we're gonna do this. Then they're like, sorry, I spoke to my boss and we can't do this. It's like, why was I not negotiating with your boss? I'm pretty lucky that, like, I don't deal with this most of the time, but I have dealt with this a fair few times where it's like, iron out all the details of the deal, then can't get approval for it later. And it's like, well, I spent this whole time talking to the wrong person. So advertising realized this too, where you can advertise to children all you like, but if it looks like it'll annoy their parents, no bueno, is not gonna go. There's so many things I wanted as a child, and I couldn't work out why I couldn't have them. But then I worked out after like a recent Christmas that like, oh, you buy those like the reason I get them for Christmas and not the rest of the year is because other people who didn't have to deal with the flashing lights and the loud noises would buy them, you know, like as a fun thing. But your parents know like, oh God, I have to deal with this. And so I've started buying other people's children really loud, annoying toys. Just because, you know, that's called family love, I believe. Parents control the money. If they can't recognize what the child wants, they won't buy it. Yeah, it's a fascinating concept. It's like there's also an element of this in there's like it's kind of the reverse element in how restaurants work. Have you noticed how if you go to any major popular restaurant chain, or not even chain, but like if you go to a popular restaurant, they'll always have such basic options. Like if you go to like a specifically Vietnamese Korean fusion place or something like weird and novel, they'll have all these exciting options and then they'll have like burger and fries. Right? And like the first time you see it, you think, oh, that's weird. Why are there burger and, you know, like that doesn't fit the theme of this place at all. But the whole idea is that in every group, there is someone, you know, with like, maybe bad, maybe... Also, thank you for the 20 Egyptian pound super chat, Blue Sky. I don't know what 20 Egyptian pounds is. I feel as though that's a lot, because it's 20 pounds. 20 EGP to USD. Hey, $1.08. Thank you very much. I will use it to buy burger and fries at Korean, Japanese fusion, or whatever I said. But no, yeah, it's like every place has those like basic options. Even places where it seems like it should be, even where it feels like it's very out of place, I guess is what I'm saying. And the reason why is because there's always someone in every group who'd be like, oh, I don't really like Korean food, or like, you know, just they're not adventurous. They look at it, and you need to be able to like satisfy them too, because it's the reverse of the decision-making thing. When you're in a big group of people, you don't want to like upset or disappoint or whatever people, so you go with the easiest common denominator. Like I used to hear the term tourist trap and think, why do so many people end up there? Like, this is the most generic looking, you know, like, surely you come on holiday to eat exciting or whatever. And then you see like big groups of like 8 people who just end up there out of inertia, right? Like, I'm this person every group, says Lucien. I think that, like, also...
I know you do World Seeds. Have you ever checked what your name spawns in?
I have, actually. Thank you for asking. Poison, Oh, it's good to see you. Thank you very much, Poison Heart 96. But, why is your profile picture lips? I haven't seen that till just now. I'm very concerned. Yeah, no, the IBX Toycat seed, I used to use it as kind of like a watermark on a seed where I'd found, like, as many diamonds as I humanly could. Yeah, it was like, I think it's a pretty unremarkable seed. Maybe that'd be a fun video, just like trying stupid world seeds, right? But yeah, I don't know for sure. It's been a while since we checked it. I don't think we've checked post 1.18. It might be a fun idea. Also, Poison Heart 96. I can work out from your username that you are 1 year younger than me, which means you're officially old. Congratulations. Welcome to the you know, heading towards 30 club. Also, you should play FNAF SB. I'm good. Thank you for the idea, though. I never got into, you know, the nights that are Freddy's based. But yeah, it's just never been my. I know, like, there's games that like have this like reputation that precedes and / or proceeds them. No, yeah, precedes them. It seems like a lot. Towards 30, that's cute. I watched a video. Okay, so I've always known this is a demographic of person, but I today like realized that I know it for sure. It's a thing, because I've been watching a show recently that's like basically, it keeps referencing it, but there's this idea of like 30 plus, you know, 30 somethings that think they're 20 somethings, or like 40 somethings that think they're 20 something, and it's something I've realized more and more is like, yeah, this is a very, very real category of a thing. We just need to dare him to play it, says Dominic Durant. Sounds like a dangerous game. Seriously, 26 is still the mid-20s. I'm not really 26 anymore, though, am I? Like, you know, we use a very delightful way of counting age, where we say you're 26 until you're not 26, and then you're 27, and you know, like that's how we do age counting, which is, you know, it's very charitable, if nothing else. But like in reality, that's not how age works, right? Like I'm more 27 than I am 26 because I'm having a birthday in less than 3 months, and so being 27 is like, you know, that's more 30 than it is 20. Anyway, so my whole point here. Also, I'm 36. Is Angela Van Kampenhout. That's basically dead. There's basically nothing left in there. 27, ancient. Do you remember the dinosaurs? Yeah, man, it's not. You know, back in my day, we used to look at dinosaurs and see how cool we thought they were. Nowadays, everyone uses TikTok instead. See, there we go. Now I'm old. But no, yeah, back to what I was saying. Also, do you see how many mobs are actually spawning into there? Like, this actually worked quite well. Thank you for whoever suggested it. I do like it a lot. Anyway, so, yeah, no, I'm just wait till you reach 40. So I realized there's a whole demographic of people who are like, I am old, but I would like to not seem old. Because there's all sorts of old people things that you can either embrace or you can push off for as long as you want. And so, something that I found interesting is when you, like, age 40, some 40-year-olds are like, yeah, I'm 40, it's great, I like this more than anything else. But age 70 and 80 are the ages where no one thinks that they're old. They're just like, you know, like, you either accept that, like, you've aged a bit, but you're not like all the other 80-year-olds, right? It's like, you know, I'm not like all the other girls, but like with age. And so, like, everything that is marketed to old people, you have to market to either 50, 40, 30, or 20-year-olds, depending on how, like, cool they are. And so, cruise ships, if you don't know, it's this activity that is largely preferred by the oldest generation. Why is that? Because, you know, it's very little movement. You can sit in your room all day, but also there's fun activities, and it's relaxing, and, you know, whatever else. And so, cruise ships are generally marketed as like, oh yeah, go as a family, go as like 30 to 40-year-olds. But there's a cruise ship I watched that's very interesting. That's like aimed at 20-year-olds. But what that really means is like, yeah, are you a young Springer in your 50s? Do you wanna come and be, you know, and like, I just think it's so interesting the way demographic marketing works. In the same way, you never market like, hey, here's a makeup. If you're ugly, this will make you look like a 7 out of 10. Do you want to be mildly attractive? Just, it's like, no. No one's like excited to think about themselves that way. It's like, yeah, this will turn, you know, are you beautiful, but you just need to highlight it? That's what you are, right? Like, no one thinks of themselves as being terrible at something. No one thinks of themselves as being old. We rarely associate, like, negative characteristics of ourselves, but we're very quick to associate positive characteristics. You know, it's not that I'm bad at timekeeping and that's why I'm 20 minutes late. What it is that I'm a maverick and I run to my own schedule. My birthday's in 3 weeks, but I have a board exam the day after. Boo. Clearly, you need to tell the exam to cancel and be like, it's my birthday. What do you expect me to do? You expect me to have an exam after my birthday? Does anyone ever want to be mildly attractive, lost as a Campini? See, exactly, right? Like, why is that? Why don't... I think that's like a high to me, that's like the aspiration. Like, obviously everyone wants to be like, yeah, I'm the best of everything all of the time. And I think that's like a part of like humans' natural desire to be, you know, like we fill unique roles, we specialize, etc, etc, etc. But I also think at the same time, we might be happier if we just kind of admit. Also, no, the baby slimes are gonna get through again. Okay, so we're gonna break all of this off, besides like a very specific area, and then we'll make it so we have to jump, and that way baby slimes can't get up. This is my genius solution. Okay, so yes, if you know you're unattractive. I think everyone has everyone thinks they're at the top or bottom of the spectrum. Very few people are like, yep, I'm exactly average, unless they're wrong, right? Sometimes I just love going on these streams because of how off topic you can get, says Gabriel and. What would you describe as on topic for today? What would be the most on topic thing we can say? So you hear about that new Minecraft update? I hear it has wait, that's not on topic. That's talking about Minecraft broadly. I am mining deep slate right now with my diamond pickaxe. My diamond pickaxe will soon break. Because it has unbreaking on, if you look in the bottom of the hotbar, you'll see how it only like, you know, it pulsates every 4th or 5th mine because it doesn't use durability the rest of the time. It's a very wonderful fact. I've never heard anything say they're average at anything, ever, says Jadex Martian. Yeah, it's really weird because I feel as though everyone jumps from I'm terrible at something to I'm great at something. The classic example is driving, right? Like, everyone is an above average driver, besides people who say they're a terrible driver. No one's like, yeah, I drive exactly the normal amount. Also, how did they get here? Didn't I stop that? Whatever, we'll kill them. Imagine Toycat only talking about Minecraft during these streams. So you know what's crazy about diamonds is that you shouldn't waste them on a hoe. And you know what's crazy about hoes is you should use them to mine nether warp blocks. I can't drive, says Angela Van Compound. That makes you a very below average driver. Hate to tell you.
Howdy toy cat. If 36 is dead, then I am an archaeological find. I don't think that I'm old. I know I'm old. Here is your allowance, you sassy mouthed whippersnapper.
See, right, £7.94 in like old person money. You gave me like a down payment on a house from when you were born, right? That's what you've basically done. Anyway, the thing I wanted to say about my diamond pickaxe, which is made from diamonds and pickaxes. No, I think off topic is a very relative term, but I think if you say it, I think it's just an important way to say like, yeah, the anything topic. Like, I think people do like structure. It's just people also like when you branch away from that structure, which is an entirely contradictory point to have, right? You can't be, but it's also one that we all have all of the time. We all love when things are one way, except we also love it when it's the opposite way, just as much and / or more. Is that fully contradictory? Yeah. Are we fully contradictory? Welcome to humanity. So anything on topic in a Toycat stream is off topic. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The only time we're truly off topic is if we're on topic. Down payment, I could buy a whole house of that back in my day. See that? I wonder if that makes it more generous or not. Like I have this real thought about when you get old, should you be just as, you know, prudent with your money, or should you say, I've got 20 years left to live, maybe. And actually, no. Okay, here's a fun question. It's really dark, but I want to know your thoughts anyway. In fact, it's so dark that you're probably not meant to talk about it. So do you want to hear about my road trip? I'm gonna be going from you know, somewhere in, you know, west. I think it's gonna be like Ohio to all the way down to Vegas. It's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be very good. Also, the other people I know think of it as a second childhood. Yeah, as you get older, it starts to become, you know, like when you're a child, you have like, you know, like no responsibility, and also your body function isn't all the way there. Then you get body function and responsibility. Then you lose responsibility and body function, and then you become, as you become an old person again. I want to hear the dark questions, just Shenstorm. Okay, so if you have a year left to live, and you have, I don't know. Actually, okay, there's two parts to this. One is like, if you have savings and you know you're gonna die, do you want to spend all those savings? Because you got to enjoy them now. Like, wouldn't it be such a waste if you save money for so long and then you realize, like, oh yeah, I'm not gonna be alive to actually see this money. And the other thing is like, do you think it's unethical to borrow money, you know, knowing that like it removes any value that anyone can get from your estate? Borrow money before you die and not disclose your condition. Because technically speaking, it's against like borrower's terms and conditions not to tell them. So the only issue is Ohio doesn't exist. Oh no, if only I'd considered that. Yeah, I've done that drive 4 times from Michigan and... Oh, no, I missed it. You have to say it again. Wait, I can find this. So 55% of people think it is. You've always gone through Denver, but there's always the southern route through Albuquerque. I was going to go through Wyoming. It's a very northern route. But, you know how it is. You know how it is. No, yeah, I just want to, like... I want to do something interesting in as many interesting states as possible. Many people don't know when they're going to die. Maybe it's tomorrow. Maybe it's years from now. Maybe your next road trip. Who knows? Yeah, no, in America, the road deaths per capita is like 4 times higher, even when you adjust for like driving miles. It's a fun reminder to me that like, you're in a country where people gotta do things, and sometimes they've gotta do things more than they care about your life. I always say that Manitoba doesn't exist, as Ryan Hibbs. Have you ever seen Manitoba with your own eyes? I think not. So how do we get more than 120 minutes as too safe? What'd be cool is if we could, like, add minutes to that timer based on, you know, some financial incentive. Take out the most amount of money possible in the lowest denomination a month, set it alight, and jump on the burning pile of money. Yeah, I've always wanted to, I have always wanted to just have a large amount of money. For, like, honestly, like, even ignoring the burning thing, because burning it would be fun. Imagine, like, sitting on £1,000 and... I guess it'd be, like, £10,000 of £5 notes. It'd be nuts. In America, it's even easier. Like, $1,000 in $1 bills is just so much money. Whereas I have, like, I have something like $1,000 on me at all times. I'm just kidding. That's not true, probably. And it's in hundreds, and it's like, this is a depressingly small looking amount of money. $1 bills are so weird. We used to have pound notes in the UK. It's one of those sad things that we got rid of them. I take out all the money, put it in my kids, and... Wait, okay. Put it in the kid's name, and then they can't touch us. We're not responsible for our relatives' debts. I think there probably is an argument. It's called, I think we call it, like, deprivation of assets, right? Like, if you intentionally too hard deprive yourself of some things... You know, like, like, again, for that, like, your children's money is effectively yours if you go through too much effort to give them to it. I wonder how that would actually go down in a court or whatever. Yeah, I'd convert $1,000 to cent, you'd get 1 million coins. I think you get 100,000 coins. Questionable maths there, Ivy Tora. Hi, friends, this seems chills. Thanks for this and much more, says Beyond Rain. No, thank you for this and much more.
My profile is my lips because I didn't want to use my whole face, and I
Oh,
thought
it actually
was
is
funny.
your lips. Wow, the internet has seen your lips so much now. How do you feel about that, Poison Heart? I feel as though, like, having one part of your body be really famous would be like... Obviously, it'd be like anonymity type of famous. Like, no one's going to recognize your lips or anything. Hey, diamonds! But, like, I've always felt like being famous for a body part must be the weirdest thing. Because it's not real fame, but also, like, it is at the same time. It's like, you should see lions roaming the streets here, says Lewis Buffer. I don't know what country you're talking about. Anyway, so, yeah, I think, like, imagine having the most famous, like, butt. Having the most famous, like, eyeball. Because, yeah, okay, like an example is, you know the guy, the Confused Harold meme? If you don't know Confused Harold, just take my word for that. There are, like, the meme of the guy looking back with the girlfriend, and the girlfriend's like, you know, like, upset. Like, all of those people are stock footage people. So they didn't get paid anything from them becoming a meme. They just one day showed up for a stock footage shoot, and now that's the characters that have been made out of them is a whole thing. But imagine it's like a body part, right? And it's just, you're like, there is someone who has the most seen eyeball. In fact, if you want a really off-brow version, if you, so Wikipedia has images for various body parts. And the most intimate body parts, perhaps you could say, because you can upload your own images to Wikipedia to, like, help them with pictures. And so there's a really interesting there's a thing that happens where people would like it for, you know, the image that shows up on one of those pages to be of them rather than of anyone else. And so there's like a whole fight for who gets to be on that page. It's one of those things, right? I like you know, because the Wikipedia community is a very interesting place as it is. But that's one of those things that makes it even more interesting, right? Like, this is a how do you know this? You know that I'm not the one on trial here. Thank you very much. I'm gonna move on. You know, I just want it to be my body part. I agree with Orange Brian Smith. Why are they featuring other people's body parts when I'm right here? They're starting to make me feel very, very unappreciated. All right, Andrew, I'm gonna stop you on this one. But yeah, no, it's like that to me, you know, it probably is like there's more going on with that, right? Like some people have very interesting recreational ideas. But Toy Cat, are the stream mods your slaves? Stream mods, are you my slaves? So you gotta answer that, I'm afraid. No, yeah, it's the person who did the majority of the Scots language Wikipedia doesn't speak Scots, they just made it up. Yeah, I know that one too, Michelle. Oh, yeah, that's it was a person who, if I'm not mistaken, they just threw like random Scottish sounding words in, and no one spotted them for so long. And to me, that's like proof that like Scots, because you know people used to use the number of Scots articles on Wikipedia as like proof that Scots was a real language, because Scots is like a weird dialect of English, so like you can understand it as an English speaker. It's mutual. It's mutually intelligible with English, right? We can ban him, so he's our slave. Now that's true. That's true. Actually, wait, Kat, you're our resident Scottish person. Is Scots a language or a dialect? We'll take your word for it. We'll take your word for it. Because so Gaelic, G-A-E-Lic, is a real language, right? There's no questioning that Gaelic is some amount of real language. Is it as used as they like to pretend it is on their road signs up there? Probably not. Whereas Scots sounds like a very Scottish person speaking English, but you can't understand sometimes. We don't spell words. Everything is a word for drunk. Language without formality. I'm proper beansed up tonight. I thought it was pronounced Gaelic, says Brandon TGS. If I'm not mistaken, it is Irish Gaelic and Scottish Gaelic. They're spelled exactly the same. I don't know why. I don't even think I should humor their weird spellings, but you know, just to be polite to other people who live in my country. I pronounce it Gaelic when it's in Scotland and Gaelic when it's in not Scotland. Yeah, it is a weird thing there. Diamond Hoe for the achievement. I think that we deserve a Diamond Hoe. Lazy. What achievement do you mean? I'm actually like, maybe we've gone too far. You know, I would say 2 hours of this. As I was like an hour in, I was like, oh no, I picked too short of a time span. Right now, I feel like we've hit what would be the natural endpoint. So as we go further, you're gonna see the weird experiment. Do we pick back up? Do we get all that energy back? Or is it a one-way down from here? Who knows for sure? It was pure defeat. Suit the day I cannot find my boots. Thank you for the thank you for the beautiful Scottish there. Yay, weird stream. Bugs me so much to see you not get the diamonds. What diamonds, chat? Can you tell me where the diamonds are? I've been looking for them for a while, but I haven't found them. It's like I would love to get some diamonds, you know. Seems like a good idea. If someone could just point me in that right direction. So, Kat, when's your road trip to Alaska? Says It's Dorian. Oh, I really don't want to cross the US-Canada border by land if I can avoid it. So I'd have to like road trip in Alaska, or like it's just more until I have like a proper what's the term? Unless I have a proper residency in the US, I don't want to cross the border by land anymore. It's too painful. It's too painful. But yeah, that one bad review on Minecraft, too much mind, too little craft. I mean, they're not wrong, are they? Actually, I'd say they're wrong. Too much craft, not enough mind. Summer is the time to do Alaska stuff. Yeah, I'd really like to visit Alaska. Hawaii didn't get me going good, you know? Everyone loves Hawaii so much. Wasn't for me. Was not my thing. Also, I understand driving to Seattle to Alaska is really just a frustrating drive through BC and YU. See, there we go. Another reason not to do it. Problem solved. Also, Dan Marsh, since you are a Vegas person, was the British pub that I made a video on the one you were thinking of? I'm like curious now because it was such a weird experience. They've got like a British taxi outside. It's like such a weird place. I mean, he's a citizen who's never been out of the country but still wants to move to Canada, says Ida Dude. It's not like impossible for Americans to work in Canada. It's really easy if you do it illegally too. I mean, it's easy in a different way. Just kind of creating problems for yourself after another point after that, aren't you? Also, yeah, I think that. Also, 15 minutes to go, chat. It's running out of time. Love the talk, says Angela Van Kampenhout. Angela Van Kampenhout? No, I'm really glad you like him. I'm glad you weren't offended by my calling you old comments earlier. I think, you know, like, isn't old one of those weird things where it's like, it's all relative, but also it's very different and crazy. Yeah, I think that's what's going on there. So, we need real ID to cross into Canada so we can get back. The real ID thing America's going through is the craziest thing. Like, just get a passport. Just get a passport. Just, you know, you can do it. I believe in you. I understand why it's crazy to get one for a domestic American flight. That's crazy. Blah blah blah. But just get a passport. Hey, the rest of the world uses them. We understand it. Do you want host privileges added to Bedrock? Says Narwhal08XX. Honestly, no. I mean, I want it. I guess I want it in the sense that it'd be nice. I'm not like hugely. I'm not like begging for it though, you know. Also, Axel says I loved Maui. It was so fun. The flight back was terrifying though. See, what was like fun though? I really liked my little journey up some train tracks. That was interesting, if nothing else. But yeah, I liked Hawaii, and there's so much interesting stuff there. But it's not the island paradise or whatever. It's just like, okay, this is an interesting thing. But yeah, I think that, you know, like there's this weird reality of like, do you want things? You probably want everything, but like knowing like the prioritization. In the same way in the real world, I want so many things. I want a kebab right now, but a kebab's gonna cost me money, and more probably pertinently, it's gonna hurt my stomach, and I've got to wake up for a flight tomorrow. So, you know, it's important that I don't eat a kebab, or maybe just maybe, you know, maybe I put my happiness above that. Except actually, yeah. So I want a kebab right now, but I'm also good with not having a kebab. Why have a kebab when you can have a lobster roll? Says Alec Hernandez. Someone needs to give this man a raise. Get a best kebab. I actually considered for a while doing like a little series where I just go to each of the best kebabs in London and then work out which best kebab is the best kebab. Yeah, no, I think that, you know, like life is all about prioritization. That's what like the actual decisions you start making are. What happened to the burger? You know what? I want to talk about burgers. So I live near a McDonald's. I live within cycling distance of a McDonald's. It's also walking distance, but it'd be a bit too long of a walk. Like, I'm not gonna say precise minutes, but like, you know, it would be like, it'd be fine, but it would take up most of an hour getting there and back. So I'm not gonna, you know, it's not an hour-long walk to me. So what I'm gonna do is I wanna, you know, go on my bike. But my local McDonald's, I'm still like, I'm so salty about this. There was a guy at my local McDonald's who was like, yes, no bring in bike here. And I was like, oh, no, it's not like, and I'm like, I was like, oh yeah, of course. Because he thinks I'm just bringing a dirty bike and he's a cleaner. So sorry about this. So I pick up my bike, because I've got a fairly light bike, and I hold it in my hand. And he's like, no, bike not in here, outside. And I'm like, I'm waiting for my food, and then I'm not leaving my bike outside by itself. Yeah, like I had like a proper like dispute with the man at McDonald's, and it's like what you know, I could understand his issue of me dragging dirt onto his floor or whatever. But anyway, if you want something interesting, go to Wyoming, go to the Cody Firearms Experience and shoot some old guns. You can rent anything on their wall to use in the range. That sounds pretty cool. I feel as though like the cool thing about America is like everywhere has guns, right? Like if you wanna shoot wacky guns, you can do it everywhere. But I'll look it up. I'll see if it's in southern Wyoming on that big road. I'm on board with that. The best kebab near me is the best kebab. It's the only benefit of living in London. Is it called best kebab? It better be called best kebab. You gotta tell me which one it is now. I gotta skip right ahead to that. Did he actually have a French accent? Says Edgy Civil Radio. No, man and McDonald's have Polish accent. He speak very quick. No, actually, that is French. I'm doing like that. I see how you got confused. I'm sorry, Ag Silver Radio. But no, yeah, it's I don't know. Like it's the thing about confrontation, right? Of like I know you're in the right in the sense that you have the authority to tell me not to do this, but you're in the wrong in that you're telling me to do it for the wrong reason, and you're clearly putting me in a situation I don't want to be in, where I need my food. I obviously can't get a refund for that, so I'll wait and like, just knowing like in the future, I need to use this form of transport to get there. I can't really lock it up, and there's no downside to you if I just carry it with me. And he's like, no. It's whole thing. It's best kebab, but I'm not doxing myself for the internet cat man. See now I'll never know which one the best kebab is. Also, hi Toy Cat, going for a bad breakup advice. Oh, you're going for some bad breakup advice right now. So here's what you do with bad breakup advice. Step 1 is you ignore it, and step 2 is no. So if you're going for a bad breakup, see, there's lots of types of bad breakup, right? Ryan Schrapp. Okay, this is advice of Toy Cat. $2 is 2 minutes of advice. This is a bad business model. No, is that a hickey on Toy Cat's neck, says Thomas Melcher? Oh no, what this is, I don't know what this is. Like I had a giant cut, like a sore on me this morning. Like I might be dying or something, honestly. Anyway, and like it like hurts so bad. It was awful. It was like black too. It was terrible. You can bring it in if you mop the floor afterwards, says Fern. See, that's my point though. Like, oh yeah, I understand the whole don't put it, but like if I'm lifting it up, it's not touching the ground. He dislikes an item that is in my possession, which maybe is like fear of like, yes, I know how these you know, these YouTuber boys be. I was gonna say British boys, but I guess in the UK everyone's a British boy. I know how these people be. I am French now. I am the cleaner from the Francais. No, so breakups, rough, right? It's not gonna be, there's no advice from like, oh, so what you do is you turn it off and on again, everything's gonna be wonderful. But the advice I can give you that's maybe more useful or applicable, or at least something, the advice I can give you is to, like, did you say NFT mobs? Of course I said. Also, how did he spawn up there? Oh, he probably spawned on that side and then like walked over. That's frustrating. Let's see if we can't trick him to get over this. Yeah, I think we can. I think we totally can. Okay, just keep bouncing. Oh no, that's... Okay, so we'll just kill each of these. Chat, good news, if you missed the slime noises, they're all back. I know the situation of yes, you have the authority, but you're still wrong. All too well, says Axe of a Radio. Right, like it's like I'm not questioning your right to do this in the sense of you can. I'm just questioning whether you should be doing this and the situation you're asking me to put myself in. You know, like I think I could have been a dick and been like, no, you don't dictate McDonald's policy, Mr. Cleaning Man. You know, is there a sign outside saying nope? You know, I could have properly. But I don't want. That's not my point, right? My point is not to be like that. My point is, I am trying to respect you and trying to like work out a thing here, and you're being unreasonable and like again like the tiny authority that you think that you have from being the cleaner at McDonald's and using this to prevent me from, you know, like trying to make me leave my you know clearly not cheap bike outside. It's like, come on, you know, like let's work something out. And he was just like, no. You're gonna, and so like having to make me confront him as opposed to just, I don't know, it's stupid to me. Like he lost authority in that, right? He's the one who has to be like, this guy is not doing exactly what I am saying. Whereas you get to be powerful by being like, yes, keep doing what you're doing. That is exactly what I want. Like, chat, have you liked the stream yet? Oh, you haven't? Aha, you're playing into my hands right now, fools. Used to be a clean McDonald's, the power goes to your head. Some McDonald's do have signs outside that say specifically no bikes, no rollerblades. See, right, that's like a, there is this interesting point with big corporations, right? Because like that's not what my one said, but like it's an interesting idea. The like, who really has the power about how an individual McDonald's franchise works? Is it the owner of the store? Is it McDonald's, the franchise level people? Or is it the individual employees working there? If Kat wants to say, today in McDonald's, no one wearing a hat. No hats at McDonald's. I will physically not let you in if you're wearing a hat. She has the ability to do that, but not the authority, perhaps you could say. It might be the authority, but not the... And like, McDonald's has the... if McDonald's wants to implement nationwide and no hat policy at, the whole thing, they can tell people to do it, but it won't make it happen, right? The manager of the franchise will have the power of the restaurant at that location. But right, who has the actual power? Where does the real power lie? It's like it's like the police argument, right? Like, who really has the power to set laws? Is it the people who sit in the big room in the that you elect every 5 years, or is it the people who hold the guns and say, "Stop what you're doing. I'm enforcing the law." And there's an interesting argument to be made that, like, who is it? It could be either. It could be neither. It could be a weird combination of both, I think, is the more realistic answer to that. And so, yeah, it's like that telling people to wear masks. Yeah, there were so many businesses I went to during the pandemic that, like, had, like, all these corporate signs up saying wear masks. No one cared about enforcing it, right? And then you'd see the reverse. You'd see places with no signs, but like there'd be a person, an employee, who's like, please, could you just, I'm not gonna serve you unless you do this. I remember it was in New York, like after all the things had been lifted. I remember like walking to a store and being like, whoa, you gotta put that on first. And I was like, oh yeah, oopsie. It's like there's a very interesting kind of difference in that one. No hats for anyone, says Cat Beanie. No one gets to wear a hat anymore. No one gets to wear a hat. Man, we made some serious progress today. In under 2 hours, we went from like just below there to down here. That means we can do the maths and say that we do another 5 of these streams, and we'll be all the way down to bedrock. I think the marker we need to follow from now on, though, is probably digging out just where the water goes, so we can at least get that to like flow down here. Oh gosh, I hate you. How did he spawn here? Do you think the masks were a good idea? Toycat says famous flame. So what's your favorite color, chat? Are you having a good day? I'm having a good day. We've got 2 minutes 34 seconds left, and I hear it's Thanksgiving somewhere, probably. It's always Thanksgiving somewhere. And so I'd like to say that I'm thankful for your continued patronage of the channel today, Internet. You have many choices in YouTube channel. Thank you for choosing Toycat. Oh no, chat, more favorite colors. Quickly give me your favorite colors. We're running out of time with which to discuss the colors of which are the best. Wow, do you like red colors more or blue colors more? It's not 5 o'clock somewhere, it's Thanksgiving. I mean, like, if it was Thanksgiving somewhere all the time, maybe we'd all be more thankful. I'm just saying. Also, this wall is, like, ludicrously high. Anyway, yeah, I hope that you've all enjoyed today's stream. If you did, then you know what you should do? You should go watch another one. Or, alternatively, Maybe that's a sign that you've watched just the right amount of stream. The video from early, it's like depressing. It's like breaking my heart right now. But again, I'm sure picks up with the algorithm, something watch time. Actually, wait, it's I think I can see watch time as of soon. So let's go quickly check that out. If you want to know what like really is going on in my mind after I publish a big video, it's like every metric, I need to stare at it and find out. Regular viewers are choosing to watch this video less often than usual, contributing to 41% fewer views. Ooh, that's painful. It's got slightly fewer views from everywhere besides up next. When people find it in their up next, they watch it just as much, but they're clicking on it less often. That tells me I need to change the thumbnail. Speaking of changing thumbnails, yeah, I feel as though the last time I did one of these 100-day star videos, is it better if it's watched right after an upload? Honestly, with YouTube, it's so impossible to like give a definitive answer. But my feeling is, yeah, like the momentum keeps going. You know, video picks up, starts rolling, etc., etc. It's weird, but there's a certain truth to that, right? But yeah, no, I hope that you've all enjoyed this live stream. It was fun. Back in the Let's Play world. The next stream will be Super Flat Survival though, because you know we've just got 3 villagers. We need to see how that goes. Thank you for watching. Hope you all enjoyed. But as always, second channel. Wait, no, this is the first channel. Someone said second channel in the chat, and it got me confused. As always, real channel, decision time, and the decision is to go watch the video all the way through. Go watch literally all 45 minutes to boost my audience retention. Thank you. Goodbye.